Hi everyone, this is Maria from bmsreviewsbooks.com and welcome to April's edition of Book Chat. This is the place where I discuss all of the books that I have recently read and reviewed and are now up on the blog. I also discuss what I am currently reading, so let's get to it. Every Dead Thing by John Connolly. Highly recommend this book. I loved it. I'm a big fan of Dennis Lehane and also the Patrick Kenzie series. This book was very similar. More graphic, more horrific, more explicit in the violence. However, a great suspense thriller about a man whose wife and child have been brutally murdered, and he is on a quest to find the killer. It is pretty amazing. The book actually confused me a little bit because there are really more than one storyline, and there is a mystery that needs to be solved before he gets to the actual meat of the story. So I thought that this book could actually easily have been two books, split into two books. However, it was, for whatever reason, one long book. The action never stops. The writing is amazing. I will read more of Connolly's work. This is the first book in the Charlie Parker series. I have not read any of Connolly's work before this, including the Charlie Parker series, but I am a fan now, and I think that I will be continuing. Some more to come on him. Next book up, Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen. Now that I've read this book, I cannot imagine his not having written it. This is his story, who he is as an artist, as a man. He takes us into his backstory. If you are a fan of Springsteen's, you absolutely have to own this book. Not just read it, but own it. It's a collector's item. If you are not a fan, you still need to read this book because this is one generous spirit who is very bravely and courageously offering up his self to connect with others. And that's what it's all about. This book was pretty amazing. As I Knew Him, My Father, Rod Serling by Anne Serling. So this book is written about the man from his beloved daughter's perspective. As I understand from reading the book, Anne was extremely close to her father and really worshipped him. And there was a lot there to worship. Rod Serling is a stand-up guy through and through in every aspect of life, an amazing talent and just completely iconic. So again, this is one to own if you are a fan. Even if you're not, read the book. It's pretty darn good. So highly recommended, and I'm so glad that I got to, read about Rod Serling from this perspective. I have been a huge zoner for many years, and I really appreciated this book so much. Next book up, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. I read the book on audio, narrated by Covey himself, which gives a sort of a more intimate perspective on the work. The work is very involved. This is about changing, or powerful change, lessons in powerful change, changing your paradigm, changing that fixed way that we happen to think about all aspects of life to get out of our own way. And this book is work, okay? It's not just a read. There are exercises that go along with it. You are going to need to come back to this book again and again if you are serious about this. This is not just a one and done. I highly recommend owning this one, and I think that in this genre category, this is probably one of the most, if not the most famous book. So highly recommend this one. And I do need to go back and start rereading again and also work it from my end too. So it's also a reminder to my own self to get off my butt and start working this stuff. Next book up, Middlemarch. I finally finished. Yay. I actually had a party for myself, a party of one. I picked up this book for the first time in 2015 after having it on my list forever. And due to a personal crisis, I put it down, which is something I never do. I never put a book down and leave it, but I did this one for many months. Part of the reason was I was reading it on a Kindle. I don't believe that works for a book like this. I really do think that you need to have a copy of the book in hand. Went out to buy a copy. This copy was about $12, so totally affordable. Now I have it for my library. You can, of course, splurge and get yourself something nicer, a hardcover, more of a collector's edition. doesn't matter. What really matters is that you read the book. And in a nutshell, this book is about change, resilience to change, and relationships. And this is really what you would call historical fiction. George Eliot does a great job of depicting the times and the individual characters as they need to move through the framework of that time and the conflict that comes up for them as they come up against their own brick walls. And every character has their own obstacles and hills to climb. So it's a very interesting read. It's evergreen. It's applicable to any area of life. It never will go out of style. It is a classic. I am definitely in the love camp for this book, not the hate. And also, if you are a person who was thinking about reading this and you're just not sure you want to make the commitment, or if you started reading it and you were thinking, oh my God, I don't like this book, there's a way to read above the words so that the true meaning comes through. When the true meaning comes through, it's like magic. It really is. It's like magic. And don't get bogged down in the language. It's very wordy. It's verbose. It's language intensive. There's a way to read books like this. And, you know, here's the thing. It's so worth it when you do. So I'm just saying that if you aren't sure you want to give this book a chance, pick it up again and give it a chance. It's an amazing book. Okay, enough said on that. What's next? The Marriage Pact by Michelle Richmond. This is not out yet. Publication date July 25th, 2017, so we got a couple of months to go. This is an interesting book. I did love the book, but I am recommending the book. It's a psychological suspense, and the reason why is because it's quite creative. It is about a marriage pact. Alice and Jake are newlyweds who are recommended entry by one of Alice's clients to become members in this very exclusive club. The club is filled with rules and regulations. Alice and Jake have no idea what they're getting themselves into. They think it's a good idea. It turns out to maybe not be such a good idea, and all kinds of craziness ensues. That's all I'm going to say about that. Next book up, If I Run by Terri Blackstock. Publication date, February 16th, 2017. This is a first book in a two-part series. So it's been out a short time. I believe the second book is out as well. I believe the publication date on the second book is March. So I actually don't have the second book in my possession, but I am actually waiting to get an arc of the second book. Casey Cox is running from the law after realizing that she is being framed for a crime she did not commit. Will she escape? So I am waiting now to find out the answer. So, and the second book is called, I believe it's called If I'm Caught, or If I'm Found. Something along those lines. I'm sorry, guys, I don't have that written down, but it's something along those lines. If you go to Terri Blackstock's website, just put Terri Blackstock, Terri Blackstock, into your Google search engine or whatever search engine you use. Her website will come up and it'll list on her homepage. It should list both books side by side. Next book up, I'm so glad that I read this, The Best of Adam Sharp by Graeme Simsion. Okay, so Graeme is the author of The Rosie Project and The Rosie Effect, two books that I have loved, and so many of us have loved. This book is nothing like those books. However, you will recognize the writing, but this is a standalone, and he is now cemented in my mind as a writer that I am going to continue to read. This book is a compositional score on romantic relationships. It's about the dynamics of marriages. He goes very deep into the nitty-gritty and really teases individual details out, shows how a relationship like a marriage can go off the rails. Music is the driving force behind this quirky love triangle type tale, almost. Not quite a love triangle, but there is a strong love triangle element into the book, but it is very different, and it's got its own unique twists. Highly recommended. I really liked it a lot. I think Graeme is a terrific author, and I look forward to his next book. Wrath by T.R. Ragan. Okay, so that was third in the Faith McMahon trilogy. This wraps up the story. The book went very, very fast. Things were wrapped up very quickly. I probably would have liked to see maybe just a touch slower pace, but this book is very satisfying. It's a very satisfying end to a 3-book series. And if you haven't read, her first book is called Furious. And I highly recommend this trilogy. Again, T.R. Ragan, it's T.R.R.A.G.A.N. is the author. This book is a really important series, actually, because it's about child trafficking, which is a very serious problem. She brings this issue to light in this 3-book series, so I highly recommend it for that reason as well. Very well written, action packed, full of amazing characters. Faith McMahon is a vigilante mom who will not rest until her children are brought home safely, and I can't recommend it enough. Okay, currently reading. What am I currently reading? Also, long time on my list, never read it. I don't know why. I had a boyfriend years and years and years, decades ago, who loved this book. And for some reason, I didn't pick it up then. I don't know why. I'm reading it now. Why? Because my son was given this book as a gift, and I thought, oh my God, it's about time. My husband did not read the book. He watched the movie. That doesn't count. However, my husband is a fan of the story. It's hilarious. I mean, it is just science fiction with a just hysterical twist. You will love it. Douglas Adams is funny, and rest in peace, Douglas Adams. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Gallery is a short but very funny book, and I'm so glad that I finally, decades later, picked it up. I have a tendency to have books sit on my to-read list for a very, very long time because I keep adding to it. I'm always reading, but there's always books that, are sitting there. Oh my gosh. Okay. One of the books on my Kindle is called The Idea of You by Amanda Prowse. This is about a woman who is desperate to have a baby. She has the career, she has the husband, she can't have the baby, she keeps going through miscarriage after miscarriage. I'm not loving it. It's a sob story. I'm not loving the title character. The protagonist, Lucy, is a bit of a whiner, and I'm really having a hard time relating to her. So I'm not loving the book. I'm almost done with it. I probably won't be discussing it because I probably won't be recommending it. Last book up is another one of those books that have been sitting on my list. The Museum of Extraordinary Things by Alice Hoffman. The Dove Keepers was one of my favorite books of all time. I have read several of her books. I loved all of them. I love the ethereal, mystical, magical qualities of her writing. Her writing is spot on. She is an amazing, cemented writer. In my mind, I am a fan, and I am right at the start of this book, which takes place at the turn of the century, early 1900s, and I am loving the characters so far. So Coralie, and I have not gotten to the second character. Oh, what is his name? I think it's Eddie Cohen. So I'm about to start Eddie's story next. So this will definitely be one that I will be discussing on next book chat. That's it for me, guys. That's it. Take care, and I will see you next month on Book Chat.